Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. I put on the community tab a couple of photographs of HMS Bristol here. They weren't the photographs weren't actually too bad. When I put them up onto the community tab, it seems to have cut them. I don't know why. So you get to see small pieces of it. So I thought I'd stick a quick video up because it's not completely finished yet in the sense of all the bits I want to do to it. Some bits you've seen before, the cranes. I'll zoom in a minute, but the cranes, the life rafts, which look like slugs. I wish now I'd have persevered with trying to. I was using bits of styrene rod and trying to work them on my Dremel as a mini lathe, and it just wasn't really working. So I've tried to make them out of green stuff, and that really hasn't worked either. But we are where we are, and I'm not changing it now, so they'll stay on there. I'll rep too much trying to get it off because they are super glued down. I've been adding a few bits and pieces. I'll hold her up to the camera, just be easy, I think. I've added these vents. I take it they're vents. There's some smaller ones here. Now, at different times in the ship's life, this whole section is slightly different, and there's like an A-frame here. Not sure what that was, but I'm thinking of including that. Some of the photos I've got show it and some don't. These vents were about as high as the turret, the gun turret here. I've added, I'm not sure if I've showed this before, but obviously we've got different ladders, photo etch ladders in there, or I don't know if they're called ladders, but you know, access ways, whatever. Some of the areas, trying to find someone here, like the back there where there's a door, they're very close to the top, and I wish now I'd have maybe just nicked off the bottom of the photo etched doors. This one's, it doesn't matter because obviously there's some depth there, but others, they're very close to the top, but again it's hindsight. Oh, that's in there, as you can just see. I've added these, I've made this, I don't know if that's a search radar. Again, this is where you get tripped up looking at photographs, and you've got to decide what's right and what's wrong, and what you add and what you don't, and would it have been there at that time. The ship got several refits in a time, and as I've said to you before, this gun platform here for the 20mm Oerlikons, that was moved. They got rid of the ship's boats. They realised after the Falklands War that you know they weren't really needed. They built bigger platforms. I believe these became more chaff launchers. They built platforms out here, and they put first of all two 20mm guns, I think, and then a single 30 either side. But we're doing it in her earlier because she's already got all these ship's boats now, so I'm doing her in an early fit. I'm now looking at it. I'm not sure if that radar was there or not, but it's on there now. I made it out of stretch, well, not stretch sprue. I cut a piece of sprue off, drilled the centre out, added a little off-cutter rod, built the little platform there. I'm not sure if the windows are correct on the ship itself. Obviously I can't do much about that. Yeah, these two, whatever they are, there was one lump on one side and missing the other, so I took the other lump off and made my own either side. What else? The only thing I'm not sure about, I keep seeing just a glimpse of one of these, again I'll call them ladders, if they are ladders, gangways, whatever. I could swear there's one somewhere here, I think, or there, which would make sense, but I just can't get it to see it. Some photographs it doesn't look like it's there, others there's a tiny glimpse it might be. I think I'm not sure if I showed this before. This is the tensioning apparatus, I believe, for the wires that are going to come down here for the telecommunications, or well, radar, you know, radar fit and everything. I'm going to be doing this afternoon. I've been leaving it off. Once I've done my last bits and I make a final decision where those, if and when those ladders were there, I've got to make the brass. It does have a white metal one, but it's really quite chunky. They do give you in the kit a brass brass one there. I'm not sure if they expect you to stick that over the top or not. Obviously it will have ship's railings, by the way, but I've decided on one or two of the 1700s I've done so far, I've put railings down and then had a right job trying to paint everything. So I'm just going to take the hit, paint the decks, varnish them, put loads of little bits of cut up masking tape, then spray the ship, varnish it again, and then let's just hope that the railings stick down to the ship, because I've got to go all around here, so there'll be a lot more busy yet. I've tried to make it look busy. I spoke to the owner at Telford who was selling these, who owns the business, and he said the ships, he considers it, again, right, these are my words interpreting what he was saying, but basically the ships are what you'd expect to see HMS Belfast sitting there. You could put the white metal bits on, painter, and you've got HMS Belfast. You put it on a little sea base, or you can do like myself and probably other people out there and add lots of your own bits on to make the ship more busier, or make her in a different refit. As I say, I struggle. I wasn't a matlow. I was an infantryman. I just happen to love Royal Navy warships post-war, but I like them all through. I've got books on going back, First World War, Second World War, obviously all that. But I really do like post Second World War Royal Navy warships and Royal Fleet Auxiliary, and but I'm not, I was never around these ships, so I always put the caveat on that what I'm doing I can only do on the photographs that I get to see on the internet. Or I've got books on HMS Fearless, and isn't it great? Bought books on HMS Fearless just as Airfix stopped doing it again. Really? I've got books. The Big Vince build will be turning up, by the way. I've just got distracted as I always do, and I just thought she was actually sat down in a box to remind me to get on with it. And in the end, I put it back in the stash along with the Ark Royal. But she will be making an appearance. I'd like to do this one and probably another one as well before I make a start on her. But yeah, I always put the caveat on, because I do see I've got some matlows that occasionally pop up on these videos, and they give some decent information and well-meaning comments, and that's all I ask. I see on other people's vids, people get really, in the builder's face, because it didn't have that when it was. Well, if you just enjoy doing the subject, but you didn't, you weren't on board these warships, whether it's ours, any NATO, whatever country, you can only do your best, and I get really peed off when I see people, bashed over the head because a particular thing wasn't there at that particular time that they're saying that the ship was. People do their best. All you can do is work on photographs. You only get to see. My main problem I found working on photographs for these different warships is you only get often one view of that particular ship. If it was taken from maybe a Lynx or a Wasp helicopter, and you get that one view, and then you'll see a different photograph from a different time period. Obviously, then things have changed, and you really do struggle. We're looking like that. Like I call it the frame antenna or stretcher or whatever it is there, the metal one that I made out of metal wire. The right game because I was only getting views almost like this from different time periods, and it was trying to work out what it looked like. It obviously got some type of hydraulic mechanism or whatever or tensioning pulleys to tension the wire, which I just had to try and knock up with plasticard. So yeah. I don't screw myself in. Well, I did screw myself into knots trying to get it right, but that's why I bought. I've got at least one or two books on the Invincible class now, to try and, if I can, when I get to doing her, is just try and nail one time period down with one group of photographs. Because you're on a hiding to nothing, like on Bristol. It's trying to get it in a rough time frame, Like even the cranes, I believe, might have been different at different stages, and I've got the earlier ones on, which is why I made those rather than the ones provided with a kit. Yeah, all these different radar domes, satellite communications, and all that stuff. Like these two, the whoever had sculpted it put them just straight down for ease, I think, on the outside, and they weren't. They were mounted inside, so I cut the tops off, mounted them on a piece of styrene, which wasn't particularly straight. Yeah, it's you always get this. You know, whether it's a World War II battleship, you know, I mean, I remember when I was doing the CV2 Lexington, and I was doing research on that, and you go to different forums. I mean, I'm not a member of any forums, but you know, you go to the different forums. You just put in a question, and obviously take you, you know, you go and take you to different forums, and people were having right ructions that the aircraft on board were painted the well-known darker blue later on. They weren't painted with the meatballs on and all that type of stuff at the time she sank. And lo and behold, when they found the wreck, there the planes all around, and they were all painted that grey with the meatballs on and stuff, you know. So yeah, it's I do wish people wouldn't get in bum fights over stuff. People do their best, you know, and that's all you can do. Anyway, we move on. So yeah, really enjoyed this. So I put it down. It can sit there for a month, not do anything, and then it gets a bit more. But I'd like to get this over the line now. It's been sitting around for too long, so I'm going to spend the rest of today and tonight. There's no football on. Yes, we are in the final. There's Euros, by the way, football. That's with a round ball, not with them weird shaped balls that other countries may have. What was I saying? Yeah, I want to push this on, so I'll get this bed frame mattress done this afternoon. Some other, well, before that, some other last bits of anything else that I can stick on the sides. Oh, that was the other thing. I've got these. There's supposed to be vents. Well, they're all damaged, as you can see. They're all been, they've just fallen off, or it doesn't bode well, methinks, when I come to get this helicopter bit done. But they're pretty unusable, really, I suppose. So I'm thinking again, using, you know, whether it's plastic card or maybe even foil. It might be foil because it's thinner, but she's got some vents on the rear of the funnels, and I presume on that one as well. But views I've seen, there's I'm calling them vents, but you know, extractor fan things all on the back as well, maybe lower down. So I'm going to have to really nail that down to be 100%. But again, I'm not 100% that it was, if these fans, if they changed, these vents, engineering vents, if they changed over time, or if they just remain the same on the rear of the ship. I would have thought they would remain the same. So I've got to try and nail that as well, because I would like to get this ready for primer, so I can get on with paint. I've got to put some metal primer on the metal areas, and then coating with my usual AK lacquer filler primer. So I mean that the sculptor's done the best to try and show some canning effect on the hull, so I'm hoping that will come up as well. So thank you very much for stopping by. I'll say I know my 1-in-700s aren't massively popular. I can tell that by the analyticals, but I'll say it's something I enjoy doing when I want to do them. But it's not far away now, and I'd like to get this one done. As I say, it's going to be interesting. I'm thinking of. No, I'm not sure what to do yet. I don't know whether to just blow over the paint with because the problem is as well, the decks are different colours as well, I believe. If I'm doing this early one, they've got some like little, you can see some lines there, that's supposed to represent the wood. So that's part of the ship has still had wooden deck, that, as in on top of armoured deck, obviously, you know, it's just for for aesthetics, I suppose, and ease of walking on. And then this section here is either green or grey. I believe it would be grey in what I'm doing. I believe. Again, I've got to nail that down. So it'll be interesting. I don't know whether to spray. I might just. You see, I don't like the idea of spraying everything different, because it'll affect the colours when they go on top, really. So I don't know whether to brush paint that or not, but I think it'll look a bit cack brush painted. So I think I'm going to just bite the bullet and I'll have to spray over everything, then mask it, and then spray over again with the grey blue. I won't be using the enamel sovereign stuff. I really don't want to ever go back to painting enamel paints. It reminds me too much of the 80s and that building models with enamels. So I usually just knock my own mix up and try and make it look as good as I can. So thank you very much for stopping by, taking a look. Hope you're all doing well. I just fancy putting this update up. I put one on the community tab and saying the photographs they chopped the photographs up for some reason. So hopefully I'll have another update on this soon, and then we can move on to one of the other builds, my ship builds, because I like to have one on the go. I did think of doing the Black Rover that I've also got from this company in Resin, but it was one that the gentleman hadn't done himself, I believe. There's a fair bit of cleanup needs to be doing on that, which is a shame. But it's more that the rear of the Black Rover, every time I look at the photographs, it didn't really show much. Guys just put blocks on it, really, and it just don't look right. So I'm just deciding what I do with the Black Rover at the moment, which is a Royal Fleet auxiliary tanker, by the way. So we'll see. Might do that. I might do one of the. I've got a couple of model kits. I would like to move, if I do get on with the Invincible. I would love to have the winter time roughly coincided when the Bismarck was at sea, because I've got the 1 in 700 Bismarck with a full issue of everything, gun barrels, wooden deck. I've never done a wooden deck before, and I might do that one before I get onto anything other my ships. I've got thanks to Robert, I've got a Yamato, which I could get the stuff for, but at the moment I don't want to touch that. Where I've got the Bismarck, my wife and that got me the Bismarck couple of years ago, and it hasn't been built yet, so I'd like to coincide that with as a winter build, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm waffling as I always do. Look after yourselves. Thank you very, very much for if there are anybody that's stuck around, because people like different things that I do, and I'll guarantee you most of the people that have been enjoying the 1/16 Waffen SS figure won't be enjoying this. But if you have done, thank you very much for all the kind comments on that figure. It really is appreciated. As I say, there's a lot of layer lines in that, as you get with these 3D prints off eBay, and it's a lovely pose, but I don't like the layer lines. I don't like the bent barrel that I've never been able to get out of. So I'm really looking forward, as the next figure on the bench, large scale figure, is to do the dragon figures. I've got another dragon figure coming as well, which I bought in a sale, which I couldn't really afford, but it was on a sale, so I convinced myself. And I'll have an unboxing of that one when it appears at some stage. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.